So for the advancement of the South African Constitution has expressed concern about the request by Justice Raymond Zondo's request for the extension of the release of the state capture report. He's proposing that the report be handed over to the president in 3 parts. The report was to have been handed over by January the 1st. Zondo says he will meet the first deadline but wants to release 2 more parts at the end of January and the end of February. Casac's Lawson Naidoo joins me now. Thank you very much, Lawson, for your time this afternoon. So perhaps just help us make sense in terms of the context of this latest extension. The then public protector had given 180 days for the work of the commission to be done, but alas.
Well, indeed, when the commission was established in January of 2018, it was given a lifespan of 6 months. But obviously in the context that the terms of reference for the inquiry had been far expanded from what was in the public protector's report. So it was always unrealistic that this could be completed within a period of 6 months. And, you know, there have been several extensions and requests for extensions since then. This is in fact the 7th extension of the deadline for the State Capture Commission and the 4th one this year in 2021 alone. And I think what this indicates is a lack of planning and preparation by the Commission of Inquiry to be able to be absolutely certain of how much additional time they require and, you know, to work towards meeting those deadlines that they have set for themselves. So it is a concern, and it remains a concern that the additional 2 months that has been requested, there's nothing in the affidavit of the Deputy Chief Justice to give comfort that the new deadline of the 28th of February will in fact be met. In his affidavit, the Deputy Chief Justice says that there are, and he identifies and lists 17 different work streams that the Commission has been working on. And what he says is that 2 of those work streams will be incorporated in the report that will be submitted by the end of this month, that being Transnet, South African Airways, and the aviation issues. Now, that leaves 15 other work streams, which will then need to be completed between January and February. And he gives no indication as to which of those work streams will be completed by January, how far they are with them, and which are the ones that will be left to February. So there's still no real indication to the court that has to determine this matter of how realistic this time frame that the Commission is requesting actually is.
And that's just it. Casac has repeatedly requested that the Commission issue interim reports on completed work streams.
Indeed, we have right from the very beginning. Casac has participated in these applications, or in fact in all 7 of them. And we have repeatedly asked the Commission to provide the court with information regarding its work plan and its processes, how it plans to execute its mandate, to give us timeframes, and indeed to submit interim reports as each of the matters have been closed off, as it were. The Commission has failed to do that, and now they seem to be amenable to the idea of interim reports. But it's rather late in the day to be embracing that notion, when it would have been far more effective earlier on in the process. The other issue that we've raised in the affidavit that we filed today is that the Commission of Inquiry needs to tell the court what they've done to share information with the law enforcement agencies, with the Hawks and the NPA and the investigating directorate in particular, to enable those agencies to proceed with the work to continue investigations and prepare dockets for prosecutions. And that's something that we've requested from the Commission previously, and they've simply not divulged that information. So our argument is that for the courts to make an informed decision on the basis of this request for an extension, which we don't oppose, it's worth noting, but in order for the court to come to a proper conclusion, it needs to be provided with all the facts. And our belief is that the Commission has failed to do that in its initial application.
And one of the questions you ask is what quality assurance work entails and why it cannot be accelerated.
Well, you know, again, that's a question that's left open in the filing papers that were filed yesterday by the Commission. And that's something that we highlight in our own affidavit today. And it also, needs to be clarified. When this interim report on the two work streams is submitted at the end of December, will that be a complete report that includes finding and recommendations, or is it, an interim report with the findings and recommendations still to follow at the end of February? Again, that's something that is not clear in how the Commission plans to execute the last remaining parts of its work. And again, it's something that we believe that the court needs to be told about before it can make a decision on this application.
You touched on consequences of yet another extension, one of them being, the prosecution of these people who would have been found to have done something wrong by the Commission, right? But another consequence, you speak of a lack of planning and preparation, even though they've made it known that they do not request further, assistance financially. This has come at a very costly price tag.
Well, it has. We're estimating that it's costing in the region of about 1 billion rand for this commission, but we don't really know what that figure is. But the point is that on the basis that this is the fourth such application this year alone, it's quite clear that in the previous three applications this year, which were filed, I think in February, June, and September. The Commission itself said it would be able to complete its work within 3 months on each occasion, and absolutely failed to do that. So they really need to provide greater comfort to the court that this time this is going to be absolutely the final request for an extension, and to show and demonstrate convincingly to the court that they have the preparations in place to be able to actually meet this deadline, so that we don't find ourselves in this situation in the last week of February as we do now towards the end of December. And it's also worth noting that on each occasion, the Commission of Inquiry has left it until the very last minute to make these applications on an urgent basis, which they surely would have known some time ago that they were not going to be able to meet the December deadline, and should have made this application much earlier so that proper arguments could have been ventilated in court.
This would be the seventh extension, as you rightfully mentioned, 4 years and a bit later. What assurances does the court have that, there won't be another request and we won't be sitting here 3 years down the line talking about the same thing?
Well, there are no assurances, and that's the issue we're highlighting, is that the Commission really does now need to explain to the court exactly how it's going to conduct its work for the remaining period until the end of February, and actually prove that it has the plans and resources available to conclude this work by the end of February. Because if it doesn't do so, on what basis is the court taking a decision to grant the extension? All they can do is in the hope that the Commission is going to be able to do this, but with no such guarantee, and no guarantee that we won't be having this conversation again in February of next year.
Counsel for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, Executive Secretary Lawson Naidoo, thank you for your time this afternoon.